Hey everyone, Happy New Year. The numbers are in for Breakfast Point for 2021. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, and I want to bring you up to speed on the market. I know a lot of you know that it's a hot market, but I want to kind of delve into the data, get into the weeds a little bit for you to show you some things because I don't want us to take anything for granted. For those of you who don't know, I live in Breakfast Point. We actually wrote the first contract in the neighborhood years ago, back in phase one. So I've kind of watched the community grow up and understand a lot about what's happened with the different builders and things like that. But let's get into the market a little bit. Well, before we do that, I want you to think just for a second about 2008 and think about what you may have been doing in real estate in 2008, whether you were buying or selling, or you had friends or family at least that lived through that market, endured that market. A lot of bank foreclosures, if you remember, a lot of really hard times. Bank foreclosures, prices has been steadily declining and things like that. And what I really want you to remember about that is that while we were in that market, it was very, very difficult. It didn't seem like it was ever going to end. We were almost just trying to get to the next day at that time. But markets are temporary. I think everything is temporary. We've been in an extremely healthy housing market in Panama City Beach since April of 2020, right after the month after the pandemic, maybe a month and a half. It almost hasn't stopped. And I'm going to show you a couple of things about where we are today to drive this home. So I just want to remind you that things are temporary things. Lots of different factors can change things for little sub-markets like Breakfast Point. So keep that in mind. I'll show you some data about where we are and just how incredibly hot this market is. In 2020, and this is going to take into, this chart brings in all the new construction and resale. So last year in Breakfast Point, there were 19% fewer homes available to purchase. The number's a little bit misleading though, because that's factoring in what's going on with the new construction and what was available in new construction and things like that. There were 17% more new sales in Breakfast Point last year. Obviously, a lot of that was driven by new construction. Sold volume, there was 27% more volume. And look at those numbers for a second. We had 17% more sales. Why didn't we have 17% more volume? We had 27% more volume, obviously, because of some pretty intense price increases. The average sales price in Breakfast Point went up 8% for the year, but that I'm going to get into some numbers for you. The number's really much higher than that. Look at this, and this is what I was talking about earlier about being on fire since 2020. The red line here in this chart represents the number of homes for sale. I know a lot of you have seen this before. I laugh every time I say it, but I really want people to understand this. So the red line represents the number of homes for sale in Panama City Beach priced under $500,000. I know in Breakfast Point now we've got plenty that are above that, but this is a good barometer for what's happening in the market. The red line, again, is what's available. And if you're a buyer, look at what's happened since right after the pandemic. If you missed out on an opportunity or you missed something and you're still trying to buy, look at what's happened. Consistently, you've had fewer and fewer and fewer choices. If you missed something, you turned around, there were fewer choices than the day before almost. And look at where we are now. We're actually at the lowest level of supply in Panama City Beach for housing in years. It's intense demand. I'm going to give you guys my months of inventory spiel one more time. If you've seen it, just fast forward about a minute. Remember, traditionally in real estate, 5 or 6 months of inventory would represent a neutral market. The theory behind that was very simple. It used to take 5 or 6 months to work through the process. Seller calls real estate agent. We get the marketing together, arrange for showings, negotiate contracts, get to a contract, work through the closing process, closing. That whole process normally used to take 5 or 6 months. I sort of contend that's 4 or 5 months now. It doesn't take us 30 days, 45 days to wait to run a magazine ad. We can get websites, videos, photography, all that stuff up and going much faster. So if 4 or 5 months, though, is our normal market, neutral market, if we're less than that, that means the process is happening faster. There's more demand. We're now in seller market territory. The longer we're in seller market territory, prices should at least hold, if not appreciate somewhat, just because of the natural economics of supply and demand. So look at where we've been in the housing market. We'll look at Breakfast Point 2 in a second. The beginning of the pandemic was right here, 6.25 months of inventory we spiked to because we had about 6 weeks where we didn't do a lot of business. But look at what's happened since then. Since June of 2020, we've never been above 3 months of inventory. Since February of 2021, we've never been above 2. And we've even scraped around under 1 month of inventory that whole time. Right now, we're at 1.09 months of inventory. Theoretically means we would sell all the rest of the houses that are for sale in the entire market of the beach in a month, if nothing else came up for sale. That's the reason I mentioned 2008 and how extreme that felt. We're all getting a little spoiled right now, and it's been going for over a year and a half, about hearing, oh, just put your house on the market for sale. It'll sell in 3 days. It'll sell 5 offers in 5 minutes. All that, while it's true, I think there's some pretty significant mistakes being made that are costing some people a lot of money. I'll talk about that in a minute. When we look at Breakfast Point, same idea. If you follow the red line, it's a little harder to follow the red line just because of the less data and the new home sales stuff. But there's the beginning of the pandemic. And very generally, you can see after especially closing all the recent new construction, here we are, Breakfast Point at the end. And same story here. We've never really been above 2 months of inventory in over a year. We're hovering at 0.38 months of inventory, which, if you stop and think about it, I know it does 0.38 months on a screen isn't terribly dramatic. It's not like watching the ice trucker video on the edge of the cliff in Alaska barely hanging on. That's dramatic to watch. A chart's not. But 0.38 months of inventory is extremely, extremely dramatic. This is not a normal market to be selling in. If you are thinking about selling, you don't use normal sales techniques. You don't use normal pricing strategies. This is the mistake I think I see a lot of people making over and over. So many people that are going to buy in a community like Breakfast Point are going to get a loan, which will be tied to an appraisal. And appraisers are obligated to use only sales that have closed. On rare occasion, they can use, if they can get the information on pending contracts, they can use that. But for the most part, they have to only use on what's closed. And when you have so many sales, when the market's moving so fast, it's difficult to really push the market as high as someone's willing to pay unless you have some strategies on how to overcome lower appraisals. If you have strategies on how to put together contracts that lead to higher sales prices. We've got that. We've been doing that all last year. I think we set records 26 or 27 times of our 95 sales or whatever it was. That's important. One thing I want you to take away from this, not only is that it's a very intense market still, here it is, beginning of January, not a normal time for people to be buying and selling houses, right? But it's extremely busy. I've shown property every day this week except for today. I've been in a multiple offer situation last week. I'm working with multiple buyers like a lot of agents that are having a hard time finding something. So if you're thinking about selling anytime soon, don't be afraid to get really ambitious on your pricing. And I have some ideas on what ambitious looks like depending on where you are in the community, your condition, things like that. But just don't leave money on the table in this market. There are ways. Just because the last 4 floor plans, similar floor plans to you, sold at this price, doesn't mean you're obligated to stay right here. This is possible. This is the kind of market where some pretty incredible things can happen. Looking at some recent pricing, I just pulled some closings since December 1st for you to see what's happened. You can see a lot of what's happened in the new construction sales, but remember, new construction pricing a lot of times was set easily 6 and 8 months ago, if not longer. So some of these are outdated really with what a resale market would be like today. 334,000, 336,000 on some 3 bedrooms. Those are still haven't closed yet in the new section. Some 3 bedroom, 2 baths running anywhere from 339, 341 have sold. 375, 376 have closed, 409 on a 4-bedroom, but a 412 on a 3-bedroom. We still have some units closing at asking price is 414 on a 3-bedroom that hasn't closed yet, 432 on a 4-bedroom, 439 on a 3-bedroom resale that is under contract. More new construction that closed at 444 on a 4-bedroom. Another 4-bedroom pending at 448. You see the trend here, and when we get to the bottom of this is where it gets really interesting. Another one resale for 450 on Warren Bayou, 4-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Another resale on Basin Bayou closed at 479. I'll just pull some resales for you. Another resale. We have this one under contract. 498 is the asking price. We got a good number there. 4-bedroom, 3-bath. 499 is the asking price. It's under contract. And a 5-bedroom house, 559 is the asking price. It's under contract. One home for sale, 4-bedroom, asking 599. A couple takeaways. There's no competition in Breakfast Point right now. Probably the main competition I'm watching out for coming up will be the new section, which is still a little ways away. Probably sooner than that, the one that will impact us the most will be Ward Creek. Ward Creek's up Highway 79, right north of where the hospital will be going in. We were in a meeting a couple weeks ago with the senior vice president of St. Joe. Our company does a lot with those guys. We saw all the renderings for like the 27 buildings out at the Watersound Town Center. We saw the renderings for the hospital, all the phases of the hospital, and the medical offices out there, and then talked a little bit about what's happening with the timing of Ward Creek and actually another community very close to there. So once those communities open up, it's going to put a little bit of a lid on what a resale in Breakfast Point will be able to sell for. Just like we're experiencing inside of Breakfast Point that a home in phase 1 or phase 2 feels and is more outdated than something brand new. A brand new community coming in will be tough competition for us. If you want any more information on that, let me know. We've got some of that for you. But in the meantime, short term inside of Breakfast Point, prices should very much hold, if not maybe move up a little bit more on resales. They'll be capped a little bit, of course, when Ward Creek comes in, but it's a very, very good time to be selling if you are selling. And again, if you are, make sure you're strategizing and have a plan to really push pricing in this market. There's just too many people lined up to try to buy a house in here. And there's no reason to be taking advantage of that. There may be plenty of people that don't have the ability to get a loan and go over the asking price, but all you need is one person, and you could be talking about tens of thousands of dollars difference on a house like this. So make sure you're doing your homework or you understand the supply and demand economics of it. Hope you guys found this helpful. I know most of you are on our e-alert system. If you're not, let me know. You can text me at 850-527-0221. We'll set you up, and it'll send you an email anytime something comes on the market, goes under contracts, or sells, changes price. The selling part, I think, is the most interesting. It will help you really see what's happening with values as it happens. And if you don't want that much email, we'll just set it to come like once a week or once a month, something like that. There's no obligation to use us or no charge for that. It's just I like having accurate information out there, so it's a good way to keep up with it. So if you want that, text me 850-527-0221. If you want any information on Ward Creek or any of these other communities that are going to be coming up, let me know. And again, I'm also happy to sit down and strategize with you anytime. If you're thinking about a move or considering another purchase, let me know. That e-alert system, we can set that up for anywhere you're looking. So if you own something else and you want to keep track of other markets, we can do that too. So it's an easy way to do that. Just let me know. I'm happy to sit down and kind of strategize with you it's not always a straight line in real estate from here to here. So let me know what I can do for you. Again, neighbors, Happy New Year. Thanks for watching.